Cortland Simmons with you here at the CS Racing Report with sort of a condensed laser light preview of the King George and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes, really pretty much the Arc de Triomphe, the Breeders' Cup, the World Championships of the summer in the UK and throughout Europe, and one of really kind of the premier event of amongst many great stake races, including the Prince of Wales and the Hardwicke Stakes and so forth at Royal Ascot. And this year, of course, Enable trying to run into the history books to become the first three-time winner of the King George. Of course, she's already in great company with Swain and Dahlia as being two-time winners of this race. She comes in looking at a field that's certainly significantly smaller than what it was projected to be. It was going to be the Super Six of Aidan O'Brien going up against John Gosden and his duo, which included Enable and Fanny Logan, who had been very impressive over the King George distance in the Hardwicke Stakes at Royal Ascot over that oval. And so she was coming in as really a horse that I thought had value, along with the fact that at some point, even after losing 5 times in a row to Enable, and Magical looked very, very good in the Pretty Polly Stakes, she runs the following day in the Tattersall's Gold Cup at the Curragh. So that'll be interesting to see after these two big races where these two fillies stand. Obviously, Enable has a significant and very, very prominent advantage head-to-head against Magical. But she's not in the field, and neither are a couple other runners. The field went from 8 to 4 to 3. Anthony Van Dyke, the 2019 Epsom Derby winner, who hasn't looked particularly good in his first 2 outs of 2020. The blood work didn't come back to Aidan O'Brien's satisfaction, so he's out of the race. So it's reduced to 3 with Enable at odds of 1 to 2 to 9 to 4 on the morning line, depending on your market watch or what outfit you're doing your wagering with. Japan was at 3 to 1. I like Japan with an 8-horse field as the week, progressed. But as time went on, I still like him because I still believe that he should, appreciate the 12 furlongs. I think he'll like the distance. But who's interesting in here is Sovereign. His odds are as high as 10 to 1, could be even higher. 2019 Irish Derby winner on the front end. In the Vintage Crop Stakes at the St. Leger, distance of 14 furlongs, he ran from well behind. Obviously, it was his first run over a significant distance of ground. And he came on very, very nicely to finish a very, very encouraging third. And I like the setup of a 14 furlong race, cutting back from that to the 12 just as much, if not more, than Fanny Logan if she had been in the field, having had a race at the distance of the King George at the same venue in that Hardwicke Stakes. So I like Sovereign's chances at a price. The only problem is he is going to be the horse that's going to be stalked. He's more than likely to make the speed. The thought of Japan making the early running doesn't, to me, seem like it's going to be a likely case scenario. And I think Enable is going to be sitting off of whoever's going to contest the pace, and it looks like it's going to be Sovereign in Japan. I'll be honest with you, off the Eclipse Stakes, I didn't particularly like Japan's run. He was tracking Gayf all the way around there and was never able to make that run where that burst of acceleration was going to either propel him right alongside the leader or past him to make it a race in which Enable was going to have to chase him home. He was never able to do that. I didn't like that run as much as I thought I would have upon reviewing the tape. But again, I do like the fact that I think he'll like the 12 furlongs. I think he'll get the trip. I think Enable, her run was pretty good. I think it was good enough to where you believe that maybe at 12 furlongs she should be better. It's all lining up for her to make history with only 2 rivals. And I'm not a believer. I'm not in the camp that believes that at 6 now she's not as good as she used to be. I don't believe any of that stuff. I think that really when looking at this field when it was going to be 8, I thought that it looked more like, this is going to be a case of not her fitness or her motivation, that there would be the competition was better, even maybe a better Magical. You've got Fanny Logan. That's going to be sort of a matchup that we're going to have to see in combinations or singularly down the road. But I think that right now, it appears that it looks really, really good for Enable, but the law of average is very hard to win 3 races in a row, much less have to come back in 3 separate years and win a race at the 1.5 mile route. I still like her chances. I did have Japan as my pick. And obviously, you could put Japan, Sovereign, and Enable in third, or have a box where it's Japan and Enable winning this race. I do think there is a possibility, but something tells me that it looks a little bit better for Enable. I wasn't overly impressed, as aforementioned, with either one of their races in the Eclipse. I would say that Enable coming on off the pace was a little better than Japan, who tracked the leader, and he was never able to make up the ground, and he wasn't even able to, get the secure the second spot. So I don't like him as much as I did earlier in the week. Japan is a tepid pick to win the King George, but Enable, certainly a lot of people rooting for her to make history. We shall see what happens, and we're going to recap it right here at the CS Racing Report.